torticollis. What about it? Please keep watching if this sounds interesting to you, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now and push the bell button to get noticed when new video is uploaded. Don't forget to give us a like. Thank you, keep watching.
Hello again. When we have something to deal about like torticollis or plagiocephaly, it's something that in newborn infants the head is not like it's supposed to be. It's not symmetrical. It's like the head orientated in one side of the body, and like that the body oriented in this type of C. When the child grows up, this situation maybe it will be harder. The asymmetrical position of the head is very strong, and it's something like flows to the body. So in our hands is everything about normal development, and every time that we are trying to change something in this situation, we must think about normal development. We will talk about torticollis. I will add some pictures to see how the head might be in this situation, because some things are different in this particular deficit or not normal position of the head, because when the child is born with some restrictions, some problem, maybe it will be because of the way that the born procedure is have been with many difficulties, and maybe the head was in because the bones are very easy to move. Maybe it's like the back of the head is more orientated without this like a ball, the head. So you will see it on the pictures. Sometimes the same thing will be in newborn, but with prematurity, and because they are in the with inspirators and everything else in the emergency room, they have to orient it, the head, because they have to have this all these machines to be in line, to get them everything that needs to be alive. So they orientate the head, and the next step is to have this flex in the cervical spine, so the head is orientated not normally in the right position, but from one side and not through the other. So this might be very strong for a child or mild, but either way we must take our precautions to have the symmetry of the head and the shoulders, so the developmental procedure will be equal to both sides of the body. So, if a child is premature, you have to consider that in prematurity the child will have born without the flex, the normal flex. So it will be a lack of that. So we have to deal with it, and we have to do it. We have to do it. So this is a position that I saw you before in other videos, but the way that we try to accomplish something is different every time. So in this position, the child will have to see the head, the hands, okay, the legs, and it must be orientated in a vertical position from the shoulder, and the head will be symmetrical. So in this position we have to deal with the flexion of the one side and the elongated of the other side. So we try to with this type of movement of our legs to give him the opportunity to flex and elongate it either way, the one and the other side of the body. From here we can transfer the weight like that. So like a normal born child, we will have him to get this type of flexion to his body. So it will be a little bit easier to take this position in after 2 or 3 months, when it's possible for him. So we can do a lot of things from here, but always remember that the child must see his legs and his hands, and maybe a toy which is something that will take his attention, okay? So from this position we will do things like touching his leg, touching his knee, touching himself, okay? And this is for self knowledge, because it doesn't have knowledge of himself. And from this situation, from this type of movements, when a child licks his thumb, maybe he knows, not maybe, he knows that this is mine, okay? I see it, I touch it with my mouth, and I know it, this is mine, okay? And focus on the way that the eyes follows the movement of the head or the movement of the leg, because eye contact is very, very crucial for this particular period of a child, of an infant. So after that, we can do everything that we know from normal development about situation like side lying position, and everything that we know about side lying flexion. From this position, we will do it on like that, okay? We do it like transfer his weight from just like before, we rolling, okay? In side lying position, we elongate the flexion of the cervical spine, and we orientate his eyes to his hands and to his body, to his leg, and everything that is in front of him. So if this child has a severe flexion of this cervical in his cervical spine, I recommend to do it from the other position, from the other side lying position, because you must do it first to the side that it's more convenience for him, it's more easy for him, so you won't have his argument, and he will cooperate with you easier. So in this situation, if this is the side that has the most important flexion, you have to do it always in like a normal situation, okay? Don't think that this is the flexion, the severe flexion, so I don't do something like that in this side. It's not okay. You must do it both sides equal, because it's not something that he can do while he's flexed there. It's not easier for him to flex more, because the other side it's elongated, but it's not something that he can do it functional. So don't think that this is something that I don't need it. You need to be flexed, but flexed like a reaction, like a facilitation, like a normal developmental movement, okay? So I want to say that in this position, in prone position, everything that you know about normal development, it's the same here, but you must focus in the situation that gives you extension on his cervical spine. So if you have a child like 2 or 3 months, you have to do it on your own, and you have to facilitate the supporting his shoulder on his elbows, so and the arms. So when you have to transfer the weight to his pelvis, from the shoulders to his pelvis, immediately you get a extending reaction. So if you have something in front of the child, probably it will be following the movement of his eyes, and the cervical spine will be ready to extend, but elongated all immediately after this reaction of the eyes, because we have to think about a purpose. You must think that the child has to have a purpose to react, a purpose to facilitate something, okay? Because without any goal, you can't accomplish anything. If the child doesn't want to get something or to see something or to hear where is what I'm hearing, nothing happens, okay? So this is something that you must do, but the main goal is to have extension equal to both sides, okay? You must be symmetrical. If this is something that the child can do it alone, maybe you will facilitate it, this situation with your fingers and your hands, okay? Be careful, you must be very gentle. You don't grasp, you don't stretch. Everything is like I am just holding you, and when the child is okay and is relaxed, then you will probably move a little bit to the straight position, okay? And you must be patient. Child needs patience, needs your attention, and you must think that everything is very, very, very sensitive in this age, and probably this area is more sensitive from every other area in his body, okay? So from this position you must do something like that, and you can get elongate the one or the other side of the cervical spine, and you must focus on eye contact, so the orientated of the head follows the eyes, okay? I have a lot of videos for infants physiotherapy. In this video I only want to focus on how in this situation we can get symmetry, okay? And remember every time that symmetry is after asymmetrical position and actions, okay? Because we are asymmetrical, but we don't do symmetry activities, but we are asymmetry, but symmetrical asymmetry, okay? We can do every time the same thing from one and the other body of our and the other side of our body. So keep this in your mind, and after that I want to share some things, some thoughts about how you can accomplish everything in further months, okay? In this situation, when a child is sitting, or you do it on physiotherapy session, you have to be aware of of how you can accomplish that. You can do it like that, okay? I have to see to see, you have to see it, okay? My thumbs are here and I am not pushing, not elongated, only I have my thumbs or my first fingers, so I can keep the symmetry. Be gentle, please, okay? And after that you can do this type of movements on the pelvis and with some flexion of the one and the other side of the body. We facilitate side elongation and flexion, and we wait the head to move like it has balance, it has equal flexion and extension and elongation and flexion, okay, from one side and the other side. And when a child is almost ready, you can do the transfer from sitting position to this middle semi sitting position, and you can do it to quadrupedic. Every time you are focusing to this area and to on shoulders and head. It must be like a normal like a normal differentiation, like a normal river, like a normal situation, like in normal developmental movement, okay. And you have to know about what is normal and what is abnormal, and you have to focus on how a normal in normal development is happening, so you can do it in this child with this deficit, okay. So if this is your accomplishments, you can think about what next. And next we will do some things in quadrupedic position, and every time you have to think about symmetry in this area, symmetry about one and the other side of the neck, and cervical spine and extension and flexion and everything. So from this position you can do semi-kneeling position, okay, and you can put a table or something like that to focusing on how he's reactive with toys and everything. And when it's all, you have to think that the side that takes the weight of the body is elongated, the other side is flexed, so is the cervical spine. So you have to be focusing, so here it must be elongate, okay. And normally you have to do it first from this kneeling position, and there is elongate, okay, and there is elongate and flexed, okay. Flexion from here, elongated from here, flexion from here, elongated from here. If you have something else in your mind, please get me noted, add it in your comments. So from this position we can do transfer of the weight in one leg and the other leg, and every time you have to focus on these areas, where is my elongate, elongate, flex, flex, okay. So this was everything I wanted to share with you. I hope that it was helpful, and see you next time